Firefighting has always been a dangerous profession, whether it's entering a burning building or responding to highway accidents, whether it's handling medical calls involving infectious diseases or responding to special dangers like marijuana grow-ops. Every day, firefighters face life-threatening situations to save Canadians and their families, their businesses, and their property. The world is changing, making the threats to firefighters even deadlier. From chemical spills to nuclear disasters, from electrical hazards to deadly traps found in illegal drug operations. Firefighting in Canada requires specialized skills and training. Because when the alarm rings, you never know what kind of situation you are going to face. Even the unimaginable. Firefighters know the risks of the job when they choose the profession. They're also aware that they are the nation's first line of defense in the event of an attack of a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear nature on Canadian soil. They're prepared to face these dangers, and they're prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice without hesitation in order to save the lives of Canadians. And yet firefighters have had to fight on other battlefields for fair compensation, for improved working conditions, for pensions and legacy benefits for their loved ones on those sad days when they failed to return to the station. And most recently, for compensation over causes of death we don't see, from cancer and other illnesses caused by the job.
Canada's professional firefighters have been a central part of our union since the IAFF was formed in 1918. Today, we're proud to represent over 20,000 professional firefighters in Canada, who together with our 270,000 U.S. members make the IAFF the leading authority when it comes to firefighter health and safety, collective bargaining, and job protection. Professional firefighters have benefited greatly at the local, provincial, and federal levels from the IAFF's expertise and resources. And this video will give you a sense of how our Canadian office in Ottawa is fully integrated with IAFF headquarters in Washington, D.C., and how we facilitate delivery of a full range of IAFF services to our Canadian affiliates, its leaders, and our members. By working together, we have made our members' jobs safer, their pay and benefits better, and have built a forceful political action program that puts firefighter issues front and center in the legislatures across two great countries. We're ready to put the full weight and resources of almost 300,000 members across North America behind you when your job or your safety is jeopardized. That's our job. That's what you pay dues for, and we stand ready to help. All you have to do is call. Stay safe.
Scott Marks is the IAFF's Assistant to the General President for Canadian Operations.
It's evident when you travel across the country and speak to firefighters in the different provinces that the core issues they face are consistent. As well as the items we carry to Parliament Hill, on a municipal and a provincial level, many of the items they face are very similar. We all share the same health and safety risks. We all fight for fair compensation. As well, presumptive legislation is a benefit that all firefighters in Canada should share. And now, with pension plans under attack, the Canadian office can serve as a focal point for the collection and dissemination of the materials we need to achieve our goals. It's very important that our message remain consistent, not only on this issue, but on all of the issues we carry forward on a federal level to Parliament Hill.
FirePAC is the IAFF political action fund, and it's one of the greatest tools for firefighters to educate members of Parliament at any level of the government on firefighter issues.
The IAFF Canadian office provides affiliates with support and research assistance in such vital areas as collective bargaining, health and safety matters, public relations, crisis management, legislative matters, and other regulatory issues. Greg Hewitt, the IAFF Canada Research Assistant, explains why this is important.
Having an IAFF Canadian office here in Ottawa really shows our Canadian members that the IAFF is serious about meeting their needs. providing the services that they need here in Canada.
While the goals of the IAFF members in the United States and Canada remain the same, the IAFF understands that the political, labor, and legal systems and frameworks in each country are very different. The Canadian office tailors IAFF programs when necessary in recognition of these differences.
Hi, Darren.
Welcome, nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Come on, have a seat here.
Thank you very much.
It's nice that there actually is an ability to not make this stuff, like the Public Officers Compensation Fund, a partisan issue where we're bickering back and forth. It's not going to be an election issue, right? So why can't we find a way in which we can all accommodate and work together?
A primary example is the area of politics and legislation. The IAFF's Canadian legislative program, which is modeled after the highly successful U.S. program, is developed and implemented through the Canadian office.
Jim Lee, our assistant, runs our Canadian operation.
I'm based in Ottawa.
And you're based in Ottawa.
Like our American counterpart, the success of the Canadian legislative program requires regular contact with government officials, members of parliament, and cabinet ministers.
Tell me about the this U.S. payment, this $300,000 payment?
Yes, and that's been in place for
Since
years.
'76, yeah.
Since '76.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
tied
you
to
see.
inflation, and they...
There's no question that the IAFF really does bring strong representation on behalf of their members to the Hill.
I'm a member of Parliament, but everybody up here basically still sees me as a firefighter because that's what they knew me as I came into it here from 29 years. So it's actually a great kind of tradition to have to bring here, because often what you get here is a lot of talk, right? And you get a lot of negotiations. Often you don't get action. But fortunately, people look at firefighters as people of actions. I think their main accomplishment is that they've provided one voice for firefighters. And I don't mean just Jim Lee, but the office here is able to provide the research and the other things that are necessary. They're not partisan. They'll meet with anybody. They'll talk about anything they can. It's that presence that makes the difference. So when somebody stands up in the House, for instance, and wants to talk about some kind of compensation for firefighters, like a public safety officer, we're trying to move that kind of thing through, people automatically think of the Canadian office of the IAFF because that's the closest that they've come to it as legislators.
At the annual Canadian Legislative Conference, grassroots members descend on the nation's capital to lobby elected officials directly on issues of importance to Canada's professional firefighters. They also work politically to ensure that the rights and concerns of firefighters are up front on the government's agenda.
The fact that the IAFF Canadian office is located just 2 blocks from Parliament Hill is more than just a symbol of our presence in the Canadian political process. We have meetings on an ongoing basis with MPs and parliamentary assistants. It's important that we're close to where the action is.
Clearly, IAFF efforts are paying off. Through lobbying and the strategic use of the Firefighting Canada Fund, the IAFF has realized important legislative victories in the areas of pension reform for firefighters, criminal code amendments to protect firefighters from the dangers of illegal drug operations, and in March 2007, winning $2 million in funding from the federal government to implement the IAFF's hazardous materials and CBRN response training programs in Canada.
A national office would provide that opportunity to say to each province is, okay, on a periodic timetable, you will provide us with your most recent updates.
Most recently, the IAFF has been successful in putting other items on the Canadian legislative agenda, including the need to establish a national public safety office or compensation benefit, the need for a national office for fire service statistics, and other vital issues.
Fires do not know boundaries. So what is established as well-being for a firefighter in North America, in the United States, would certainly apply to a Canadian firefighter.
The IAFF Canadian office has also assisted provincial associations in the battle for presumptive cancer legislation for professional firefighters. Since 2002, 7 provinces, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick have passed important legislation to recognize that certain cancers are occupational among career firefighters. And they also recognize that families deserve adequate workers' compensation benefits.
My husband was Mark Johnston, and he was a very healthy, athletic man who contracted colon cancer. It was believed that he contracted it on the job. When you lose a spouse, I think indicative of the situation, you feel like a bit of an island, particularly when you're as young as I am and my 2 children. it was so nice to have the IAFF there because they answer the questions that you need answered. They're there with loving hearts to surround you. They're there to assist you in any way that they can. They help you get through those first few months that are so difficult.
Or there could be a lump sum payment from the pension plan on a one-time basis, and after that there would be no more ties to the pension fund.
So she can take, for example, if it's a woman in this case, she could take...
Day in and day out, the IAFF Canadian office works closely with the elected leadership of more than 160 local affiliates, with 3 Canadian IAFF district vice presidents, Canadian trustee, and 6 provincial associations to assist in meeting the needs of affiliates at every level.
I mean, everything comes with strength in numbers, and I mean, the more people you have kind of working towards a cause, I mean, gives it that much more credibility and that much more strength to go ahead. So I mean, firefighters, I mean, we're always looking at firefighter safety issues and safety for residents, and I mean, so I mean, our members understand that those are what we are pushing, and it's quite easy to get our members on board to say, yeah, we support that, and we support the union, and we want to be part of it.
The biennial Canadian Policy Conference also provides a forum for members to debate and vote on the policies that govern the International Association. Just as importantly, the International Association of Firefighters offers its membership a sense of community from coast to coast in Canada and with fellow firefighters in North America. As an IAFF member, you always know someone is watching your back, and that when you're facing a crisis, you're never alone. You will have the full weight and resources of over 287,000 IAFF members in North America standing behind you. Security, safety, opportunity, a sense of community. For close to 100 years, the IAFF has been there for firefighters in good times and in bad times. We're always there when it counts. The IAFF is always on the front line for Canada's professional firefighters.